So you want to become a master at combat, but you need to understand that with combat comes psychological warfare. The martial arts is inevitably something where you get emotional. You can socialize all you want, you can have as much fun as you want, but the martial arts is called combat for a reason. And it's because you go in there to learn how to defend yourself, to learn how to fight, to become a better version of yourself. And regardless if you are a competitor or not, as long as you step onto the mat, as long as you engage in a sparring match with another person, to a degree, it is psychological warfare. Because psychological warfare depends on your ability to calculate, to determine what your opponent is going to do, to think strategically, to think with an elevated perspective, and to determine how you can play upon your opponent's emotions to bait them into situations where you have the advantage in the sparring match, in the fight, in the situation, whatever it may be. And I'm going to be giving you 5 tips to not only become a master combat artist in the ring, but to be somebody who is a source of unpredictability, who constantly plays upon the emotions of the person that he goes up against. The person that is elusive, like no other fighter. Without further ado, let's begin. Number 1, the unpredictability tactic. What wears us down in combat is often not our skill, but the fact that we rely too much on one thing. Some of us are pressure fighters. Some of us like to bait others into reactions. Some of us like to keep the distance. Others like to go in with a karate stance, and some of us like to do quick wrestling takedowns. The problem isn't necessarily the style, and although the form could be off for some of you, the main problem is that you rely too much on one thing, and that is precisely what wears you down. Because in strategy and in warfare, what is done once often becomes old early enough. What is new yesterday is old today. And in combat, you have to learn to integrate terror, not to be a bad person, but to win the advantage in the match. So you can specifically do this by mixing up different styles, by doing things that go completely against your usual style, that completely contradict what you have ever done before. So say you go into a sparring match with another person, and let's say for whatever reason, this person has been having an advantage over you for a long time. You are a notorious pressure fighter in the gym, and every single time you try to fight with pressure, he responds with counter reactions. He moves around. You throw a punch, you try to get in there, you throw kicks, every single time he counters you. He grabs you for your kick. He topples you onto the ground. He wrecks you in every single sparring match. And with every single sparring match that goes through it, your coach tells you, pivot more on your kick, keep your guard up. But he doesn't tell you specifically how you can win the advantage against this opponent. So, say you are a pressure fighter. Next time, what I want you to do is to mix another type of a stance. For example, instead of being the pressure fighter, step back, disengage with your opponent, and allow for him to take a step towards you. Allow for him to try to figure out what he's going to do next, instead of constantly reacting to everything you do. On the flip side of the coin, if you are the person who baits the other opponent towards you, if you are the long arm guy who likes to maintain the distance and you like to measure out with the jabs and the lead teeps, try to get some pressure in every now and then. It's not about your frame, your build, and constantly trying to use that to your advantage with a rigid mindset. It's about mixing things up. It's about trying something new. So the next time, what I want you to do when you go into a sparring match is not to do exactly what you did last time or to do exactly what your coach tells you to do in the round over and over and over again, only to see yourself fail. It's to try something new. And through this, you gain not only skill, you gain adaptability, and you gain improved knowledge of how you can take advantage of your opponent's skills and use it against them. This leads me to the second and arguably one of the most important strategies in combat, the mirroring tactic. We often love reflections of ourselves if we are doing good and we are expressing our opinions, or we tend to hate a reflection of ourselves if somebody imitates us in a negative way and does something back to us. Let me give you an example. You are a really good fighter in the gym, and you love to have great spars with people, and you like to keep it light and friendly. You want to learn, but every now and then, there's that one douchebag who shows up to the gym, and as nice as you want to keep it, his intentions aren't always the same as yours. Regardless what he says, regardless if he believes that he's truly being playful, you see the way that he throws punches at you. He throws strikes at you with absolute knockout power. And your advantage here is not to get emotional. It is to reflect precisely what this person does back to them. So say every now and then he fights you with an inconsistent pace. He'll throw light jabs, he'll throw light crosses, light kicks, and out of nowhere, wham, hits you with the hard right overhand to the head. You didn't see it coming. What do? You do the same exact thing back to him. You don't show any reaction on your face. You show nothing. You show faint here or there. You act very light and playful. You even compliment him on his strikes. And out of nowhere, jab, 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 bam, body. Jab, 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 bam, kick to the body. Whatever it may be, by doing that, you send your opponent a message. If you want to do this to me, I will do it back to you. If you want to treat me this way, I will treat you this way too. Again, I'm not saying you have to go out here and treat every sparring match like the other person is your enemy. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that when you are in a sparring match, there are going to be people who inevitably try to play upon your emotions, not because they're bad people, but because that is part of the game in combat. And that's what I love about combat. It's not being a dick, it's being tactical and strategic. So the next time you engage in a match with somebody and they do something that ticks you off a little bit, either going too hard, inconsistent pace, taunting you, do the same exact thing back to them. They want to hit you hard to the body, you hit them hard to the body. They want to catch your kick and sweep you onto the floor, onto your ass, do the same exact thing back to them. They throw double jabs at you, you do the same thing as them. They turn into an open stance, you do the same exact thing as them over and over and over until it drives them crazy. And the moment that they don't see it coming, you throw them off with something completely new, completely off the charts, that catches them completely off guard. Number 3, the unconventional. Every single time you step into the ring, your coach gives you all a focus. For example, he wants you all to focus on the 1-2 rear kick, checking the rear kick, responding with the lead kick. You do it over and over in your sparring matches. And he tells you that although you are allowed to really use whatever you would like in your sparring matches and to have some fun and play around, he wants you to focus on that particular combo. But the danger here is that in combat, things are unpredictable. And when things are unpredictable, what does that mean? It means you have to be unpredictable. You have to be the one who's willing not to care. I'm not saying you shouldn't care about your opponent's safety. I'm saying that you shouldn't care about following your rigid system where you do exactly what your coach tells you to do, word for word. You should, of course, listen to your coach, learn from him, try to absorb every single piece of information that he gives you. But when the time comes to actually step into the match, step into the ring, spar an opponent, chances are they're not going to listen 100% to every minuscule detail your coach gives you. Because a coach is a coach to guide you, not to manipulate and control every single action of yours. So every now and then, throw something that is off the charts. That's not even taught in the gym. If you train in a Muay Thai gym and you have a bladed stance, go in there and throw a side kick to the body. Go in there and throw a spinning heel kick with caution, light, not for the purpose of hurting your opponent, but to throw them off guard. To never reveal the purpose behind your actions in the game of combat. And that is the third strategy that can completely throw your opponent off guard. Something I love to do, because when you throw something that's not even taught in a gym, when you throw something that is completely new, it's almost like inventing or speaking or bringing a new language into place. It completely befuddles the other person and they never know what you're going to do. And when your opponent in the ring doesn't know what you're going to do, that's when you have the advantage over him. The counterattack. You love pressure, you love pushing the pace, and you love the inside dirty boxing because it's fun. You love the feeling of going home every day, feeling a little beat up in the body. Your coach maybe told you guys to go a little bit lighter, and perhaps you should have. But something about sleeping on your rib and feeling like you're sleeping on 10 hard copy books pressing against your ribs weirdly fascinates you. But the detriment is that you don't really learn in the way that you could be. You make the same mistake over and over again, and the heights of strategy contradicts that. They go against that. What good comes out of trying to do the same exact thing over and over again? Going into the same exact tight, dirty boxing with the same exact person, the same exact strategy in mind, over and over and over again, if it reaps you no rewards but a pain in the ribs. So the next time you go in there, try to bait your opponent. Instead of constantly meeting your opponent up front by just charging at him in a linear motion, try to circle around. Try to feint. One of my favorite ones is to hold the jab out here. And he thinks you're really waiting to actually throw something. And the moment he sees your head out here, he throws something. You quickly lean back, boom, overhand, boom, double step low kick. Those are amazing moves you can use. So you go in there, you're in the ring, and he doesn't know what you're going to do. You bait outwards with your hand, you hold it there, and maybe he throws something. You slightly lean back with your head, bam, you pop him with the overhand, and before you know it, the round's over. Hopefully you don't hurt him, but I'm saying if it's a fight, round's over. If it's a sparring match, go light with it and simply use it to your advantage. So that's definitely another really beneficial one because the counterattack is where you bait your opponent. You make your opponent think that they are in the advantage, that they have the benefits, that they are the ones in power in the match. You allow them for the first 2 or so minutes to come at you, wear out their energy. They go at you, they throw the hardest kicks they can, and the coach is telling them to go lighter, and you say, oh, it's okay. You let him kick you. Sometimes you take it like a man. You take it in the quad. You check it a little bit here and there. Sometimes, and then out of nowhere, 1 minute passes. Maybe they throw something, pop, pop. You tap them in the head. And they're a little shocked. They're a little shocked. I didn't see that coming. And then before you know it, you pop it again. You pop it again. And then you feint. You throw a kick. And then like a tornado, you start to ramp up. You go at him. And before you know it, at the end of the round, you are pushing the pace. You are giving him absolutely no room to maneuver, no room to think, no room to contemplate what he's going to do next. And it's basically you dominating the match, throwing the punches, not to beat him up, but to actually wear your opponent down psychologically, which is literally one of the key aspects of combat. And therefore, these are the 5 most critical factors you must take into account in your sparring matches. Remember, I'm not advocating these strategies to tell you to go hard. I'm telling you if you are using these simply in sparring, go light, be cautious, don't try to destroy your opponent. The point is to learn from each other and be safe. Now, if you're in a fight, hell, let it all go loose. Go as hard as you can. But in a sparring match, use these with caution. And the point is to teach you to become a master at strategy in the ring, which is arguably as, if not more important, than learning the techniques themselves. And so, as we reflect, number 1, the unpredictability strategy. Never allowing your opponent to know what you're going to do by constantly mixing up combinations. Mirroring, doing exactly what your opponent does back to them. He throws a jab, you throw a jab. He throws a hard body kick, you hit him with an even harder body kick, provided it's an actual fight. Number 3, the unconventional. Throwing in moves that nobody could ever expect. 4, the counterattack. Baiting your opponent, making him think he's the one with the advantage, when it's really you who has the advantage over him. And finally, non-engagement. If you wish not to engage with your opponent in the ring, back up. Give your opponent a little bit of space. Make him want to engage more and more and more and simply take a step back. Move around. Don't even engage. Don't even throw a punch for the first 2 minutes of the round. Irritate and frustrate your opponent, and when the time comes and they are worn out, you go in there and you push the pace and you add that pressure the way that you are meant to. Thank you again, everybody. This is another episode of the arshansamimian show, teaching you how to develop the heights of strategic psychological warfare and the martial arts. And as always, this is something that I am advocating for my martial arts brand, Iron Fist, that we are planning on expanding to the best of our abilities, making this something absolutely revolutionary, and teaching things that not all martial arts would. Thank you again, everybody. Please follow, subscribe, like if you enjoyed this podcast of the Arshan Smimian Show. And as always, stay blessed.